when the clouds turn gray. Oh, you're like the blood running through my veins. I love you until now and forever away. One step at a time, you take me. You're leaving me blind, but don't leave me.
How are you? Doing well, I hope. It's lovely to have you. Let's do... sound. There it is. Happy Sunday, rather, yeah. Technically now.
Know you. I've been 2 hours. We didn't get tonight, we don't have tomorrow. Just you and I. How we gonna move together? Come closer. If we don't move together, come closer. How we gonna breathe? How we gonna be together?
A white hacker? I don't know what that is.
Just
It's like a light worker. I appreciate that. I got you. That's brilliant. I'm sorry. You now. Thank you very much. Are you tiniest thing? We can get tonight, we don't have tomorrow. I'm done whispering. Done whispering. How we gonna move together? Come closer. If we gonna move together, come closer. How we gonna be? How we gonna be together? Just keeping the peace between the sheets. So maybe don't give me cold on shoulder. Turn around, let me hold you. Let me sit in the dark of the morning. Just for a day now. How we gonna move together? Come closer. If we don't move together, come closer. How we gonna breathe? How we gonna be together? Just keeping the peace. Just keeping the peace. Just keeping the peace. And I'm noticing that while they're trying to poke fun over here, they're the same ones who followed us from the last feed like losers with nothing better to do on a weekend, 12/22. So, just saying. I'm chilling. This is fun.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, somebody's angry. You're not gonna think it's very fun when I do this. It's very retaliative. Nasty. Gossip, slander, probably another troll feed. Oh, I didn't mean to pull that up. How did that happen? Well, that was aptly timed, wasn't it? Yes, me. Don't be rude.
Babe, I'm falling good times. Right foot in the roses, left foot on the landmine. I'm not gonna be there, tripping on the grapevine. They can sing the words when I climb to the baseline. Let me out like Prada, devil in no detail. I swear it's getting harder, even just to exhale. Backed up into corners, bitter in the lens. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. So stick to me like you're a girl. Walk beside me till you feel nothing is right. Yes, you're going good in the garden, but I'm begging nobody.
That is Caramel by Sleep Token. Start a band. You want me to start a band? My grandmother wanted me to be a singer, actually. Nana Rose. Before she died, one day I was doing something, cleaning up something for her, and I happened to be just singing a tune, and she started talking about it. I love her. Oh, my heart hurts. Thank you. Speaking of deepest incisions, like, ow, physical, that was in, yeah, the tension in my chest. Small baby. I think this is son. It's a sound bit of his son.
Till the day I die. Oh baby I live. Oh baby I try. Cut deep and I'm still alive. I talk my shit till the day I die. Oh baby I live. Oh baby I try. Don't speak when I talk, Godspeed when I walk,
So they're watching live, I would say, actively watching and trying to backtrack. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I have enough anyway. They've been doing it publicly. It was just another place that they were doing it. But yeah, if there's anything there, if you see anything. Curiosity, yeah, right? I'm getting downloads actually about how much it doesn't matter. It's all action and consequence, exactly, universally speaking, but I'm also picking up that this has been a federal case and investigation, and anybody who knows technology knows that even if you delete something, it's never actually really deleted. Somewhere, on some server somewhere, it exists. Still. Even if you have to time hop the server, which they can do. Whoops. Especially since there's pedophilia involved, you don't think they can get a subpoena for that? That's more than enough probable cause, baby.
Speak from my chest then. Bounce back when I all scraped off all the rest on this really turn right now. What you think I'm done for? What you think I'm that strong? Well, I'm still cut deep and I'm still alive. I talk my shit till the day I die. Oh, baby, I live. Oh, baby, I try.
They shouldn't have done that, because I sent a response email to the Arizona police today with some clips of Cray Cray, specifically, that she tried to delete from the internet, but now the cops have them in her area. Because it's their jurisdiction to deal with that. So I know they've been watching. Because what she doesn't know is I spoke to them a few weeks ago, and they asked for her, a week or two ago, they asked for her username handles. So while they thought that they were just going to go back and forth and cause drama and I knew that the cops were quietly watching after asking for her information last week. And I sent them more the evidence he was asking for today. So, whoops, not my whoops. She done goofed on that one.
To the day I die, girl. Oh, baby, I live. Oh, baby, I try.
I got a vision of this. Because when I started getting this energy, 12:34 on the clock. Right as I cleared out, like I closed the live feed before, I was getting downloads about, like, they were shaking in anxiety and nervousness. Spiritually trying to attack, purposely trying to trigger you to fuck up your day. That's why they tried to comment and leave nasty stuff. Trying to inbox your followers and turn them against you. This could just be like harassment in the comment. Try to form negative opinion. Spying on your family. Yeah, we talked about that. Trying to dig up dirt. They want to tarnish your reputation. Told you, time to take legal action. I have been. She's in trouble. They're mad because you're highly protected. And there's more to it than that. I'm being called not to talk about everything right now. You'll find out eventually. Your spirit team's taking care of it. Like I said, they're in trouble with the law, but they're also in trouble with the spiritual judicial system. Yeah, see, I'm going to try to tell people you're fake so they don't listen to the honest, true things you're saying about me because they make me look bad. I know. But you see, I study the darkness so I can recognize it. They're blocked by holding on to grudges. They're jealous and in competition with you. Can you imagine? I think it's funny that you think the authorities are going to arrest people who are violating laws and targeting children. I think it's funny that you think that they won't. That you think that they're above the law, that you think that you're above the law, and that you think eventually that won't kick you in the ass and catch up to you. Oh, you're delusional. And imagine how much that's going to hurt on the day that you realize that. Don't say I didn't warn you. Whoops, not my whoops. Haters will always gaslight. But I'm picking up like they're nervous. Like some of them knocking at the knees. Fake support. Which is why suddenly sometimes you see them flip. Ex-hater will try to reach out and reconcile with you. No, and then on the flip side, they do that too. They come here and trying to be hateful and then realize they fucked up doing that and then they try to come back. Oh, and you talked about that. You said that they were in the Discord chat, they were talking about stealing your ideas and pretending they invented it. They were talking about stealing my content, you said? Like talking about how they have been doing that or that they just did that? Yeah. Spending their money on spell work that never works. They can feel your come up. And that's why they try to steal from me. Because they know that it's successful for me. So they think if they take it for them, it will be successful for them. But it's not successful for them. It gets them bad karma. Because God didn't give them that. God gave me that. God's not trying to reward demons for being demonic. God's rewarding an angel for calling out the demons and not tolerating them. They constantly try to convince people that they're this and that. They're happy over your fuck-ups. What fuck-ups? You're the ones who fucked up. They're being punished for their wrongdoings. Yeah, legally as well as spiritually. Dark entities trying to use people to work against you. Some of them are just possessed. I do. We're here. What do you mean? Engage with the audience. Causing chaos and fights in your love connections. They need to steal from others because it's not in them. The light, the spark, it's buried under all the bullshit they carry. You know? You will always be 10 steps ahead of them. Like I said, saw it. They don't know how to communicate in a healthy way. And that's also very backstabby. Like, let me go talk shit about you behind a screen, behind the scenes where I think nobody will notice so I can spin slander and cause drama and send hatred towards you. But I think you won't know where it's coming from and I have the upper hand. Like, that is manipulative. You are not a team player. You're a low-blowing piece of shit. You're a low-vibrational trash bag. That's garbage. It's petulant, mean girl, high school bullshit. You need to grow up. You're trashy. I would never. You don't see me doing that. Everything I'm posting is public and it stays up after I'm done streaming it. So, can't relate. Fake witches hating on you. Right, I called that out earlier too. In one of the songs. They got scammed trying to do spiritual work on you. Don't try to fuck with me. My name is on my forehead. Freya. They're mad because you pay them no mind. Bummer, dude. So they have to try to stir the pot. I saw that. They're feeling like whatever little situation they were plotting and doing behind the scenes over there, they feel like I just took a pin and popped their balloon. That's funny. Hate tweets towards you. Petty birds. Tweet, tweet. Right. Hate discords. Someone's doing white magic. This could also just be prayer. Good vibes. Reiki for me, which we'll do momentarily. I'd like to clear this energy out. But white magic to help and protect you. Put salt around your bed for sleep protection. Is this enough salt? Just in case it's not, I have a few more in there. Also, a giant wiener-shaped piece of amethyst right here. Like a ding-dong, a whole-ass ding-dong. Like with the head and all. Somebody's laughing. I hear you. I hear a good laugh. That was a good laugh. I'm good. We're good. We're fine. It's fine. It's not okay. It's not the end. Return to sender backfired on them. I warned them about that. Don't do that. Claiming credit over your success. No. They envy your skills and talents. What do you mean? You try to copy me. You talk about copying me, but then you try to claim credit over my success. How? What? How does that work? How are you going to try to pretend to be an influencer when everything I do influences you? They can't stand your creativity because they lack it, and it shows. Because it shows they lack it. Right. They feel like dim shadows next to a bright light, so they try to throw shade. I'd be mad too if I threw dirt on somebody to try to dim their light and then they grew a garden from it instead. Flowers grew out of it. They hate me because they ain't me. That's right. Hate me because I'm beautiful. Bitch, I don't like you either. Anybody seen Bring It On? They see you getting all this love and they can't stand it. They're mad because they want to hate you, but they can't help but sneak love you. Right. Because why, if you hate me so much, why do you try to copy and be all up in my business and my kitchen? Right. Okay. So it can't be that bad, huh? Right. They can't stand that you got it made. Well, I made it like that. They mock you when they feel jealousy towards you. Yeah, well, it's a character statement. It's just not a good one. Happy Women's Day. I got eyes in the back of my head. Ooh, death threats, just in case I have to run. No. No. Yeah. You tried to avoid drama, but they're pushing it, so stand up for yourself when you need to. I am, don't worry. Something has been blocked for your protection. They claim they did it first, knowing damn well they got inspired by you. We all know that. They want you to mention them to gain clout, which is why typically I don't. But I did get visions of that this morning, so thanks for helping me sort that out. Okay, so they're mad. This is also hating on your psychic abilities and spiritual gifts. Yeah, but it wasn't... You can't. How are you going to hate on my psychic gifts and abilities when my psychic gifts and abilities said you were talking shit about me on specific streaming platforms or specific servers, and then when my viewers go to check, You were doing just that. That's because I'm psychic and I saw what you were doing. Yeah, you're just crazy. You're just a fake psychic. Really? Because I saw what you were doing while I was in the shower. But you were really doing that. So how does that work? Even the cops know better now. Somebody's drinking. I smell alcohol. It's crazy. They see your true potential and are threatened by it. And then you said something like, on the inside, they kind of love you but hate you. Well, it's like, yeah, love, hate. They can't help but love, but, or like have some kind of infatuation, but since they can't be around me because they're toxic and they can't be me, they get nasty and angry. So that's when they get weird, jealous, competitive. They got scammed trying to do spiritual work on you. You need to stop. Part of that energy I'm picking up is the kickback. They got scammed doing spiritual work on you. In some cases, they got promised by dark forces that they get good things out of doing nasty things, and they're not. That was a lie. The devil lied to them the same way that they lie to other people, and they believed it. Now they're all in hell for it, catching karma. Good. Good. Better? Is he better? No problem. Remember to hydrate also and snack. Something has been blocked for your protection. These hit the floor, so extra emphasis on these. You tried to avoid drama, but they're pushing it, so stand up for yourself when you need to. They want you to mention them to gain clout. They did it. They'll claim that I did it first, knowing damn well they got inspired by you. And then they're still pressed by some old fuck shit. So no, it's not my problem, boo. That's a child. Look, pedophile sent children in the chat again. Pay these fools no mind. You're too fire for them. Don't worry, I will. Oh, there's another one in here. Yep, there it is. Well, we know who sent them, and we know why. They're mad that you found out about their little Discord shit and decided to come back here and stir the pot. No, I'm gonna tell your mommy and daddy on you. Cut that shit out. Oh, somebody's angry. I don't know who that is. Why are you so angry, bitch? What the fuck? Okay. So not a true crime, but Mr. Ballin has a new video. I think we're going to take a break from the music for a bit. And this one's about a haunting, so perfect for the medium and friends. I love you guys. Want to go hang out?
Kind of like having your own, in their own way, fall into the category of ghost stories.
Woo! Spooky
But
bitch!
before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that's all we do, and we upload 2, 3, even 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please sneak into the Like Button's house and replace all of their light bulbs with light bulbs that flicker. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all
The true
notifications
crimes are heavy.
so you don't
They're
miss
not for
any of our
always,
weekly
but
uploads.
yeah.
Okay, let's get into today's stories.
I know that for some people, they're a little too much. And I don't always, but sometimes. However, lately I was thinking about that a few days ago. I think we're going to be gearing more towards like stuff like this and back into if other stuff, just depending on time and where the flow takes us. History, my weird histories. I love those. Ghost or like sunken ship stories, and you guys know me. I like to nerd out. Martian mints today.
One night in April of 1919, a middle-aged man named Eric Marth woke up in his bedroom in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Because his entire bed was shaking. He saw his wife, Margaret, was lying next to him, and she was thrashing around and gasping for air. But Eric didn't panic because he knew exactly what was happening. So Eric and Margaret had moved into this house just a few weeks ago. But
let me think. Oh, I got one for you. It's for the trolls. I can see it and hear it. Okay, so this is a 3-year-old.
And tell mommy again what you said you were gonna do.
This is what happens when a 3-year-old is asked about monsters. She's so cute with her little bob and her bangs. Oh my god, I've got tears in my eyeballs. She's so cute.
And tell mommy again what you said you were gonna do to him if he came here.
I said I'm going to kick his ass.
Oh. That's not nice.
Is he gonna come in here? He's gonna kick my ass.
He will?
Yeah. He'll come out in the movie. He will come out and kick my ass.
Okay.
And I can kick his ass.
Okay. But that's not a nice word. You should say kick his butt.
Oh.
And she says, she's trying to say ass, but she says, or maybe she thinks it's ask. And I can kick his ass with a K. Oh my god.
And tell mommy.
I'm gonna link that in the description for anybody who wants it. It's so cute. She's so cute.
Tell mommy.
There you go.
pretty much right away after moving in, Margaret had begun having these very intense nightmares that would wake her up almost violently, like what was happening right now. Now, from Eric's perspective, these nightmares she was having looked horrifying, but there really was not any physical risk to Margaret. I mean, she would just have these horrible visceral dreams and kind of shake around, but that was it. And so, like he had been doing the past couple of weeks, Eric just reached over and gently put his hands on his wife's shoulders and began repeating her name very gently over and over again to try to kind of get her out of this trance she was in. And sure enough, a moment later, Margaret, who kind of stopped flailing, she let out this huge gasp. And then she sat up straight and panted for air, and she turned to her husband and she said, "I saw the ghost again." And when Eric heard this, he wasn't like, "Oh my goodness, there's a ghost." Instead, he was just kind of annoyed. And so he did his best to comfort her, but he's just thinking, what in the world is going on here? So a few years ago, Margaret had joined the spiritualism movement, which was a very popular religious movement at the time. And spiritualists thought they could contact the dead. Now, Eric absolutely did not believe in ghosts, and he was pretty sure that Margaret's staunch belief in spiritualism was now effectively causing these nightmares. But it was not the house, it was just her belief system. It was kind of manifesting in these nightmares. However, Margaret felt the opposite. She felt like it was the house itself that was haunted. It was haunted by a vengeful spirit that attacked her every night in these dreams. Now, Eric, it's the middle of the night, he's tired, he's annoyed. He didn't feel like discussing whatever she believed about this ghost right now. So after she said, I saw the ghost, I saw the spirit again, he just told her to, calm down, go back to sleep. But on this night, Margaret didn't lie down. She actually turned to Eric and she said, no, I have to figure out what's going on. I have to figure out who this ghost is and why they're haunting me. A week later, a very resigned Eric sat at his kitchen table next to Margaret, and across from them sat a medium, which is a person who spiritualists believed could talk directly to the dead by conducting a ritual called a seance. The medium began to light some candles, and as they did, they told Eric and Margaret to close their eyes because she was ready to begin the seance, where she would ask the spirit haunting their house what it wanted, and they needed silence and their eyes closed to do that. So Eric fully believed that this seance would be a waste of time and money. He didn't believe in this stuff at all. But he knew his wife did, and it meant a lot to her. And so he's thinking, maybe this can help my wife sleep through the night again. And so Margaret and Eric did as they were told. And Eric, he closed his eyes and he listened as the medium began clearly rocking back and forth in her chair and began sort of dramatically calling out to the ghost and telling him to reveal himself. And at first, nothing happened, which was exactly what Eric had expected. But after a minute, Margaret suddenly jumped up from the table and ran out of the kitchen across the living room.
Thank you.
And Eric, not knowing any better, just got up and followed her. And Margaret, she ran down the hallway and she threw open a door that led down to their cellar, and she raced down the steps. Now, Eric was doing his best not to ridicule what was happening here and just to play along. But it's like, what is his wife doing? What's happening here? And so as he's chasing after his wife, he starts saying honey, what's going on here? Where are you going? What is this? But she didn't respond. It was like she was on a mission. And then finally, when Eric got down the steps and he's in the cellar, he saw his wife, who was now standing in the middle of the cellar with her arms out wide. And slowly, she began to point to a spot on the floor. And in this really weird and hollow voice with this sort of vacant expression on her face, she told Eric to dig. Now at this point, Eric was totally freaked out. Not because he believed that the seance had worked or that there was a ghost here.
There's this karmic female energy. I ignored it the first time, but she's doing that weird retaliative, first she was angry again. Oh, fine, I'm gonna start trying to go do something provocational. No, just relax.
But because his wife genuinely was acting totally bizarre. I mean, she was acting possessed. And even if that was an act, it was a terrifying one. And so he just said, no. There was no way he was just going to start digging up the cellar floor. What is going on here? But then the medium came right.
Told you, they're just unhappy. They feel inferior to you. They feel they can't stand to see you happy. Misery loves company. She's miserable. She's miserable.
Rushing down the stairs as well.
No, I will not join you.
And they said that Margaret was in a trance. That the ghost in this house was...
And she's having irrational and negative thoughts, uncontrolled negative thoughts and memories. She's like, I'm going to lash out and be vengeful and... You need to chill out. Seriously seek some mental help.
Was channeling her, and that basically Eric had to do whatever the ghost said. Suddenly, Margaret's voice cut across the room again, and she said to Eric to dig up the floor. And this time she was more forceful and almost desperate, you must do this. And so Eric, he's looking at his wife, he's looking at the medium, what in the world is happening here? But he's like, you know what? I don't know what's happening.
I really appreciate that, Thor. Thank you very much for checking that earlier. That was really... That was superb.
Began digging up the cellar. And after just a few minutes, Eric's shovel hit something in the ground, something hard. He thought it was just maybe a big rock or something. But a few minutes later, after he and the medium and also Margaret, who's now come over at this point, they'd kind of cleared off whatever it was, they saw in the ground, what had previously been covered by the earth, was this rotten wooden box. And so he and Margaret and the medium, they pulled it out of the hole and they opened up the lid. And all three of them immediately recoiled. because inside of the box was a human skeleton. And so after a minute of just, again, stunned...
I would just like to note, though, that they've been trying to say, nobody's copying you. I'm not copying you. She's not copying you. They're not copying you. You're just jealous. You're just... I'm like, what do you mean? My response was, jealous of what? You are copying. So how am I to be jealous of my own stuff that you're stealing? You're jealous of me. That's your motive for stealing. What do you mean? The whole, I'm not doing that. Nobody's doing that gaslighting thing publicly while they're confessing to talking about their thefts, particularly behind closed, what they think is behind closed doors. That's gaslighting. Just wanted to note that. In case anybody else thought I didn't see that, or in case anybody else missed that.
In silence, Eric just looked up at Margaret, who did not seem shocked by what she was looking at. This was like confirmation.
That's insane. That is mentally ill
behavior.
behavior.
He says to Margaret, is this the skeleton of the ghost
Hilarious.
that's been haunting you?
Right, it's narcissism.
And Margaret, with that
some
same
kind of
hollow
cluster bee.
voice, like it wasn't her voice, looked at Eric and just said, no.
Narcissism.
It would turn out, according to the story that has been passed down about whatever happened in this house, that the ghost was a doctor who used to live in the house that Eric and Margaret moved into.
Accusing me of what they do.
18 years earlier, this doctor had performed an illegal surgery on a young woman, and this woman had died during this procedure. But again, because this surgery had been illegal, the doctor knew if word of what happened here got out, he would be arrested. So what did he do? He dismembered the girl's body and shoved it into this wooden box, filled the box with quicklime, and then he buried it in his basement. And amazingly, the doctor never got caught for what he did. And so he basically spent the rest of his life feeling very ashamed and guilty. And then finally, when he did die, it was like his spirit couldn't actually rest until he confessed. And so this haunting was basically to get Margaret to go down into the basement and see what he had done.
Experience Japan on a journey customized to you. Explore futuristic cities and ancient towns. Uncover fascinating insights with a local private guide.
Excuse me. Provides insight to a most treacherous mental apparatus. And that's really what it was about. Like I said, there's... Where are my kitties? No. Well, yeah, one of them is resting. The other is over here. Hello. Skip this commercial. I can skip it now. Once you're consumed by your own ignorance and ego, it's, yeah, almost impossible to recover. It's some kind of cluster bee. It's narcissistic. I digress. Yeah, it outlines our motive, too. Heard that. Can't deny your intuition sharp. I saw it. I saw it play out. I'm a seer, dude.
Actually rest until he confessed. And so this haunting was basically to get Margaret to go down into the basement and see what he had done.
How the mighty will fall.
Everyday life is...
Is it cluster B? You can't even spell your attempted insult right. Is it cluster being narcissistic to project yourself to the internet like you have something important to say? Yeah, that's what they're doing. Just like you, Andy. Can't even spell your insult, but you seriously want me to take you seriously? Come on now, kitty cat. No, not you, Tommy. Insidious intent. That's what it is. Thinking that they're it's very manipulative. Petulant.
Every day.
Toxic. It's just toxic. I don't deal with people like that. Kitty's okay. Yeah, this is the one that got under my feet.
One afternoon in April of 1925, a wealthy teenager named Lacey raced his horse around the huge estate where he lived in eastern Hungary and took in all the land that he knew he would inherit someday. He stopped when he reached the gardens on the far side of the estate. Before he could ride his horse into the gardens as he wanted to, a field worker ran up to Lacey and asked him to stop and turn around. The field worker, who was about Lacey's age, explained that Lacey was not allowed to ride his horse through the garden anymore because the last time he had rode through some flower beds and Lacey's father was really mad about it. And at this, Lacey felt totally exasperated because he was tired of his father always bossing him around. And it embarrassed him to be reminded of this by someone as low class as a field worker. So Lacey's family was part of the noble class. His dad was a baron, his mother was a baroness, and they lived together in an old castle on this beautiful estate. And for the most part, Lacey loved his noble life, but his father could be harsh and really controlling. And sometimes Lacey dreamed of the day that he would inherit his dad's title, because then he, Lacey, would be in charge of the estate, and he could finally run things the way he wanted. And so, Lacey decided...
They think they're being slick, but you can see it coming from a mile away. It's a disturbance in the force. It's all of a sudden this like weird pulse of really foul energy. It's foreign. It has an energetic blueprint and a signature that is very specific, and it's not mine. So when suddenly it's right up in my face, I'm like, what is that? Oh, look. It's not my fault that I saw it. They shouldn't have been doing that. Play around my energy. I just heard mess with the bull, you get the horns. Play with fire, you get burned. That's right.
Decided he wanted to show his father and this field worker and the other field workers that they couldn't order him around all the time. And so he rode his horse right into the gardens and intentionally rode all over their prized flower beds. Lacey's plan was to head back home and go into the castle and talk to his father about that field worker's rudeness. But when Lacey got back to the castle, he didn't have a chance to even speak to his father, because that whole day his dad was very busy with estate matters.
But so were they.
And then that night, his father died of a heart attack. A week after his father's death, Lacey...
I was just getting ready to say, hope you have a good... Are you leaving, Leo? It was nice to see you. I love the clover. Cheers.
Because he wanted to make sure that she was okay. He and his mom had just gotten home from his dad's funeral, and now they were hosting a reception for everyone who had attended. But Lacey couldn't find his mother anywhere inside of this banquet hall. And with a sinking feeling, he realized there was only one place she could be. So after Lacey's father had died, his mother had gone a little bit crazy. She refused to believe that her husband had died of a heart.
I hear this. I'm not really feeling the Mr. Ballin right now. Which is fine. Because I want to do just a little bit of yoga before I head out. What's funny? Tell me.
Welcome to let the bastards get me down. My pain is my armor, I'm bulletproof. So come take a shot, yeah, I dare you. Hard as it is to stay alive. Blood in my veins, rise cold as ice. Pain in my face and the sink, I don't know what to think. I could drink, I could smoke, I don't know where to go. When the going is tough and I'm going home. Choosing to live in a dirty world, like a comfortable living with hurt. Didn't think I could work for the dead and it made my head. Welcome to my revolution. Got my eyes wide open and my heart's heartbroken. Welcome to my revolution. Got the storm clouds coming, you won't see me running. I won't let the bastards get me down.
1:11 on the clock on the East Coast.
Won't let the bastards get me down. Got the storm clouds coming, you won't see me running. I won't let the bastards get me down.
Granger knows that if
Professor has mental breakdown and accuses class of cheating. All right.
identify and fix the
Before we
problem.
pass
With
out
Granger,
the-
you can
Hey, you shush.
I want to share something about my life with you.
I don't know why it's already funny.
I've been a statistics professor here at UCF for the past 9 years. The joy of my life has been teaching students just like you, right? I met my wife here. We bought our first home here in Orlando. Orlando is my home. This school is my home. And today is a day that I prayed would never come. I want to show you last year's test score average for this same midterm exam. That class averaged 67%. 67% for them. And the year before, averaged 65%. Okay? Here is this class's average. It's 91%. 91%. We would call this a bimodal distribution, which means that an external factor has been applied to a data set, forming an unprecedented result. Okay? In layman's terms, you cheated. Now, I don't know if you think that I'm stupid. I don't know if you just thought that this was something that we didn't notice. But whoever is responsible for this is in for a very rude awakening. Okay? Because as of now, everyone in this room's test scores from last week have been tossed. They've been tossed.
Mate, this is boring.
By some divine intervention from God himself,
I can't do
you
this.
all managed to score
This
even
is like-
better on yes.
Chewing dry chalk right now. I don't want to sit in class and then listen to some angry teacher. Not this minute. Chillin', I need my music back on. No. Not this moment. What do we need for music though? I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm going to let it DJ itself. But I need something. Tell me. Help. sorry, kitty. Sorry. That's unexpected. Okay. I can do that. See what pops up. It's usually pretty positive.
On the way I was crowned
Precisely.
king, felt the wind underneath my wing. I've been high and up and low, played the fool in the star of the show. Gone along for a wild ride, and I can say, looking in your eyes, that it all would have been a waste.
I found you on the way.
I found cynicism,
I found criticism.
I've been the zero, the hero, and I have been the villain. I lost
More than a heart can take. But I found you on the way. I found you. I found you. I found you. I found you. I found you on the way.
on the way. I was given the keys to the city, they were mine to keep. Over time, every life will change. You love me all the same. I found pessimism, I found
Cynicism.
I've been the corner performer and sung in front of millions. I lost more than a heart could take, but I found you on the way. I found you, I found you, I found you, I found you. It all would have been a waste, but I found you on the way. On the way I've won the race. If the one thing that I can say.
Where am I later go? Fuego! Hell no. Oh, I like this. What is this? I found it. Oh, this is cute. Oh, no wonder I like it. It's Max. Oh. I haven't heard this before. This is new.
Put your hand in mine and watch me shine, shine, shine. 'Cause the thing I love about me is you. The thing I love about me is you. The way I light up when you walk into the room. The thing I love about me is you. Sha-la-la-la-la.
I heard that. Somebody said, "Oh, I thought you haven't heard this." I haven't. This is brand new for me. I just got the chills. Also, I'm channeling. I love this though. It's Andy Grammer and Max, The Thing I Love. When was this put out? I have not heard this. I like it. you like. Love you, Leo. Oh, you know what? I do know that one, actually. But I'm not... This is just Pandora. These are random. I like this too. Save My Life. I think you should know you saved my life.
I don't think you realize what you've done for me. Oh, I don't think you realize what a little love
It's a song.
could mean. Oh, you stay by my side, and you kept on the lights, and you knew just what to say when I was fading. Sometimes all that you need is someone who can believe in you more than you do. I was lost until I saw your halo. I was blind until I saw your light. I believe, my friend, we all have angels. You are mine. I think you should know you saved my life. Oh, oh, I think you should know you saved my life. Oh, I think you should know you saved my life. I don't think you realize what your words can do. Oh, the whole world was falling all around me, but I held on to you. Oh, you stayed by my side, and you kept on the lights, and you knew just what to say when I was fading. Sometimes all that you need is someone who can believe in you more than you do. I was lost until I saw your halo. I was blind until I saw your light. I believe, my friend, we all have angels, and you are mine. I think you should know you saved my life. Oh, oh, I think you should know you saved my life. Until I saw your halo. Until I saw your light. I think you should know you saved my life. My friend, we all have angels.
What?
You should know you saved my life.
Song? Lion King? It's a commercial. To stretch it a little bit more. That's weird. Somebody's angry.
You stay.
This is Rehab and anything.
Every night that I'm without you. Oh my dear, I need you to hear. There's a reason for the miles that surround us. One day I'ma look in your eyes, tell you were meant to shine, tell you to go out and find what makes you come alive. One day No, I'm trying to be a good example. So you go and find your road. I promise you will know the way and when it's calling to you. And I'll be there, I'll be a cheerleader. I'll believe in you no matter what you choose, yeah. Every time I gotta leave, God knows killing me. I hope someday you'll see. I hope that you'll remember. One day I'ma look in your eyes, tell you you're meant to shine, tell you I'll go out and find what makes you come alive. One day I'ma point to the sky, tell you you're meant to fly. When I'm gone for too long, it's hard to handle. You know I'm trying to be a good example. I'm just trying to be a good example. So when it gets hard to handle, you know I'm trying to be a good example. When I'm away, when I can't stay, I know my heart breaks every night that I'm without you. Yeah. You're not the type of girl to remain with the guy too shy, too afraid to say he'll give his heart to you forever. I'm not the boy that will fall to his knees with the same class type, begging you please to stay with him for worse or for better. But I'm staring at you now. There's no one else around. I'm thinking you're the girl for me. I'm just saying it's fine by me if you never leave and we live like this forever. It's fine by me. In the past I would try hard to commit to a girl, wouldn't get too far. It always somehow seemed to fall apart. Oh, you, I can see what I need. I could dream realistically and knew that this was different from the start. And it seems that every time we're out, I can find another piece of you that I don't wanna lose. And I'm staring at you now. There's no one else around. I'm thinking you're the girl I need. I'm just saying it's fine by me if you never leave and we can live like this forever. It's fine by me. I'm just saying it's fine by me if you never leave and we can live like this forever. It's fine by me. And it's never easy. But darling, believe me, I'm a skeptic who is wrong. But when I think of the life without us, it seems like what we're supposed to do. But I don't wanna come on too strong. Just saying it's fine by me if you never leave. We can live like this forever. It's fine by me. It's fine by me if you never leave. And we can live like this forever. It's fine by me. I'm just saying it's fine by me if we never leave. And we can live like this forever. It's fine by me.
That feels lovely. Ugh.
Hoping you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hoping the water rises, you built a wall. Hoping the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay.
I'm not done yet. But yeah, this feels good.
So bad. Only way you can know, give it all you had. And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say, I did it all. I did it all. Every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. There was every broken home. I swear I lived. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. And when that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Oh, I wish that I could witness all your joy, all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say, I did it all. I did it all. Every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. There was every broken home. I swear I lived. I swear I lived. Every broken home. I swear I did it all. I did it all. Every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. There was every broken home. I swear I lived. So this is what you meant. All you said that you would spend. And now it's time to build from the bottom of the pit back to the top. Don't hold back. Packing my bags and getting the academy a rain check. I don't wanna let you down.
I'm not gonna leave it so down.
Cause after all, the city never sleeps at night. It's time to begin. Isn't it? I get a little bit.
We need to change the
I like the
station.
way that I look in your eyes, and I like the place I take up in your mind. I fall on my face, never judgmental. See, I see mistakes, you see potential.
kitty cat. Hi, baby. Kelly, bring me back inside. Digital Ashes song title. More weed in this grinder, I think. Ready, babies? Thank you for the rose. This is Close Eyes. This is a slow reverb version though. like this. It's juicy sounding. I don't know why. It's a juicy bee. Ooh! New Order by Skeller. Juicy. Thank you. It's lovely to see you too, Leo. I love your cover photo. That's awesome. Batman. Am I Batman or Catwoman? Yeah, that's what I was asking too, Jessica. Batman's love. Thank you. I think I'm happy. Queen. Raven. I get Raven a lot. Queen of the bats and the cats and the ravens. Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, usually it's a Teen Titans reference. Princess. Thank you. Sweet dreams. The Underworld. The movie? The vampire movie? Celine. Kate Beckinsale. Celine. SeraFae Reiki. Where'd my Fuego go? I always get lost in this blanket. She's not really a problem, but I have to go searching for the lighter again. Here's another one. Look, I got lost again. I love this blanket. I double it over and it's just so nice. But then everything, there's the lighter. Everything gets lost. I just got up to search for this one. It doesn't go far, but it never goes far. But this blanket eats things, and I love it. Now I need the grinder. Where did I put it? I heard it do this. I told you. What, baby? Is it time for me to come to bed? Is that what you're saying? Is it bedtime? Hi. He wants cuddles. Mommy, I want cuddles in my little spoon. He sleeps with me. Or each other. Both. Good night, Dan. Don't judge me. You can judge me. I don't really care. You shouldn't, though. Somebody's upset. Relax.
I tried everything. Cough.
Did you?
Time in the 12th century, two children climbed out of a pit and sauntered into a quiet English town. That's the history. The weird part is that these particular children could easily be confused with Shrek and Kermit the Frog because they had bright green skin. And that's why today we're going to take a look at how the mysterious green children of Woolpit have baffled historians. But before we break out a banjo and start singing the Rainbow Connection, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel.
Weird
Then head on
History.
down to the comments and let us know what other colorful stories you want to hear about. Okay, looks like we've got the green light, so here we go. Two mysteriously verdant children climbed out of a wolf pit and descended on Woolpit. It sounds like the beginning of a nursery rhyme.
Cat in the
But
Hat.
according to one William of Newburgh, who is credited with the earliest account of the tale, it's a true story that happened during the reign of King Stephen, sometime between 1135
Ew.
and 1154.
Ew.
According to William's Historia Rerum Anglicana,
Chillin'.
which was written sometime around 1189, the pit had been dug as a human.
Ew.
And the children were a boy and a girl wearing clothes of unusual color and an unknown material. But even more bizarre.
Oh, we went
is
in
that they were
opposite
both
directions
bright
with that.
green.
I went Dr.
And not with
Seuss. You
envy,
went
their skin
pornographic.
pigment literally had a strange green tint. And since that was kind of
Pornographic
freaky,
piggy.
the confused children were quickly apprehended by reapers working the fields and brought to the nearby village. That all seems
No.
straightforward enough. But for what it's worth, there's no
Froggy.
mention of the event in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, which records details of English history up to the death of King Stephen in 1154. The Chronicle is full of stories about such weird events, basically making it the weird history of its day. So the failure to mention the green children has suggested to some that the event took place during the reign of Stephen's successor, Henry II. According to an historical record written by a Ralph of Coggeshall, the
Yes,
children
this
were
was
taken
a
in by
little
a
funny,
wealthy
too.
landowner named Richard de Calne, who may have been a knight. It's hard to say because very little is known about Calne. Spending some time in Woolpit, the green girl eventually learned enough English to relay her and her brother's story. That story, which could easily pass for a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, or Wicked, was that the two came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a Christian nation where everything and everyone was bright green. The sun never shone, and the land was drenched in a perpetual misty twilight. She couldn't explain how she and her brother ended up in the East Suffolk village, but she did describe the sound of bells, which had entranced them and caused the children to lose track of time and location. One minute they were tending their flock and listening to bells. The next, they were in the Woolpit crop fields. Some accounts also note that the children traveled through some sort of cavern to reach Woolpit and were overwhelmed by the sunlight on the other side. While the girl could not place her homeland relative to Woolpit's location, the young She-Hulk claimed that it contained a
I don't know, the bells are giving fairy. For some reason.
considerable river, across which the inhabitants could see a bright land, which both William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall assumed was the area around Woolpit. As for where St. Martin's Land was located, well, that was anyone's guess. Some suggested it was another planet, or an underground world in the center of the Earth, while the less imaginative assumed it was just another village in England, or maybe Western Europe. In 1998, Paul Harris published an elaborate theory that suggested the children lived in or near the English village of Fornham St. Martin. For one, the name sounds like a dead giveaway.
Time change.
It's also just a few miles from Woolpit, and the two towns were separated by a river, albeit one much smaller than the girl described. That part seems convincing enough, but Harris didn't really have anything compelling to explain the bells or the tunnel, so take it for what you will. Anyway,
How did that
after the
happen?
children were taken in by the good people of Woolpit, they were offered many different types of food. However, the starving kids, who had apparently never been informed that beggars can't be choosers, seemed to have some very discerning tastes. Everything they were offered repulsed them. Everything, that is, except raw bean stalks, which were unfamiliar to them, which we should mention are also green. For months after that, Those beanstalks were the only thing the children would eat. Of course, we've been burying the lead on the most extraordinary part of this puzzle, which is, why in the name of all that's good and holy did these kids have green skin? It's a question that has been speculated over quite a bit since the children were initially discovered, but frustratingly, there still isn't much in the way of a satisfying explanation. The 12th century populace of Woolpit jumped to the conclusion the kids were probably fairies, which were commonly accepted as real back then. Fairies were imagined to be supernatural beings who looked mostly human as far as appearance goes, and the children's account of St. Martin Land did make it sound like the kind of place fairies would hang out. Fairies were a real concern back then, due to the belief that a human could be trapped in the fairy world for all eternity. Though this situation would obviously...
Somebody said, how did you know? Well, first of all, who am I? Many things. I've lived many lives. Genie, fairy, angel, hippie, gypsy, queen. Empress, high priestess, goddess. But fairies are... bells are sparkly, little jingly things. Yeah, that's a fairy. When I heard about the bells, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. Also, like time loops, time lapses, like losing track of time. That's like a fairy portal thing. Yep.
Obviously be the flip side of that. Of course, not everyone bought the whole fairy thing. In a 1621 book, The Anatomy of Melancholy, author Robert Burton was pretty adamant the kids were aliens, saying the children likely fell from the heavens from a planet where the sun never shone. Other analyses of the incident, such as that of Scottish author-astronomer Duncan Lunan, agreed. According to him, the children probably did not arrive in a flying saucer, but had the means to be instantaneously transported to our world directly from their own. Green-skinned creatures with beaming technology? Any other Star Trek fans thinking these kids were young Orions?
Do you realize how much money
Oh, that's why. Your clock just jumped ahead because it's, I don't know if anybody mentioned this in the comments. Pardon me if you did. But daylight savings time was like right now. Sunday, March 8th is when it starts. And then the clocks change again in November. So that's why it just jumped ahead. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. So it's actually 3 a.m. now. Well, I mean, like, according to the time clock change, if nobody noticed the clock change and you went on the schedule that you were planning to go on without factoring that in, like, let's say an hour ago, technically on the East Coast, it would still be like 2 o'clock in the morning. But, yeah. Cheers. I'll get one more for you. Let's do I've just sneezed. Let's do this one. Somebody's upset.
Vast, unforgiving, and shrouded in... The world's oceans are vast, unforgiving, and shrouded in mystery. For centuries, sailors and explorers have ventured into the unknown, only to return with tales of the strange and unexplainable. Among these stories, few are as chilling as those of ghost ships, vessels found adrift, their crews mysteriously vanished or frozen in time. Some exist only in legend, like the cursed Flying Dutchman, forever doomed to sail the seas. But others are all too real. Throughout history, ships have been discovered aimlessly drifting, their crews mysteriously vanished, or worse, found lifeless under eerie and unexplained circumstances. One of the most famous cases is the Mary Celeste, discovered abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean with no sign of struggle, no trace of its crew, and no definitive explanation to this day. But some ghost ship stories are more chilling than others, so haunting they linger in the minds of sailors like a waking nightmare. And none is as terrifying as the legend of Octavius, the ship that became a tomb of ice, lost in time.
You said, talk to me, but I just shook my head. Not full of maybe I'm full of what I left unsaid. Coffee getting colder, your eyes getting older on me. I need a clear voice, cut and put the noise I make.
What even is that? I think that's AI. Commercial, something, I don't know.
The story begins in 1761, when the Octavius, a proud and sturdy merchant vessel, docked in London to take on cargo bound for China. Aboard were its experienced crew, a determined captain, and his wife and young son, ready to brave the long voyage ahead. The journey east was uneventful, and after more than a year at sea, Octavius arrived safely in China. The ship was unloaded, resupplied, and prepared for the long return voyage to England. But this was where the captain made a fateful decision, one that would seal the ship's place in maritime legend. The weather was unusually warm, and instead of retracing their route around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, the captain chose to attempt something no ship had ever accomplished: navigating the Northwest Passage. This treacherous Arctic route, winding through the icy waters of northern Canada, promised a shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific. If successful, it would mean a faster journey home, an achievement that would cement the captain's name in history. With fair winds and clear skies, he decided it was worth the risk. At first, the voyage through the Northwest Passage seemed promising. The crew of Octavius sailed northward, leaving behind the warmer waters of the Pacific and entering the Arctic. The wind was steady, and the seas were eerily calm.
What's your
Spirits
question,
were
Tommy?
high. The possibility of making history filled
Got
the
me
sailors
curious.
with excitement. But the Arctic is unforgiving. As they ventured deeper into the passage, the temperature plummeted. The once open waters began to narrow, jagged ice floes creeping in from all sides. The winds that had once been their ally now turned bitter, slicing through the ship's rigging like knives. Then, the ice closed in. With no warning, a sudden cold snap gripped the region, locking Octavius in a frozen vice. The crew scrambled to free the ship, but it was hopeless. Ice built up along the hull, creaking ominously as the ship groaned under the pressure. Within days, they were completely trapped. The ship was now at the mercy of the Arctic's cruel embrace. Weeks passed, then months. The endless daylight of the Arctic summer faded into the long, unrelenting darkness of winter. Supplies dwindled. The cold seeped into the very bones of the ship, making sleep near impossible. The men, once hopeful, now moved sluggishly, their breath visible in the frigid air. One by one, they began to succumb, to hunger, to cold, to sheer despair. Some likely perished in their bunks, wrapped in thin blankets that could do nothing against the bitter freeze. Others may have held on longer, clinging to the hope that the ice would break, that the wind would return, that they would somehow escape their frozen tomb. But the Are
you talking about metalworking?
Arctic is merciless. And so, the Octavius drifted. With no living hands to steer her, the ship became a prisoner of the ice, carried wherever the currents willed. For years, it remained trapped, adrift in a world of endless white, a silent graveyard beneath the northern lights. Then, in 1775, 13 years after Octavius,
Yeah, I have ideas, but I also have questions about not necessarily your skill set, although that can play a factor depending on where you're at and comfortability of things, but it's more so your style. Is the metal like flat banded strip? I know you can work it into a different shape usually, but or is it one that's, you know, some people will like twist metal. I don't know if they pull it, I don't know how they do it, but it's kind of like, it ends up looking like really thick wire strands. It's like stretched metal or bent metal or something. I don't know. Kind of more like filigree, almost like a little bit more delicate than one solid band piece. Sheet wire foil. Gotcha. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. I have ideas, but I have questions. Yeah, kind of like that. Like, I'm gonna pull it up. I think this is hand wrapped, but I know the metalworking like that. This is possible. So, do you do stuff that's more like this? Okay. Could you? It's more like filigree. It's like a little bit more delicate. It's more like wire. It looks like wire when it's done, or that's what it ends up being. Or, because this would influence the idea direction I go with as well. So the only reason I ask. You said something about like a band. Hold on. Sheet. More like this. It doesn't have to be like such a solid piece. It could have more intricacies in it, I suppose, but more like this, like flat or molded. You know what I mean? Not like delicately intertwined. Up. Either way, if it's a crown, I would go up, making sure the point is up. And then the other question I have is, because depending on your skill and style, you could do these either way if this is something you do. But stone, like settings, would you set stones or something in them? that would be cool too. That's what I would do if I had those skills. And that was the direction I was looking to go in. Those are some. Yes, that's cool. Baseball hat. That's really with metal. It's comfortable. It's a cool skill. I don't know if I'd be even comfortable learning something like that, frankly. But oh, this is cool. This is kind of like a cross between the two of them. It has some of the like filigree looking designs on it almost, but it's still like the banded flat metal. That's really neat. You can still do setting, like stone settings in there too. Opal, I just saw something about opal. An opal would be cool. You have to be careful with setting stones, like I'm sure you know, like the heat and the temperatures, depending on the stone, and the MOH scale, the hardness scale, can certainly affect things. Silly kitty. And opal's pretty expensive, but that would be a cool one to set in there. This depends on what you're doing it for also, and if you're selling it and how much you would want to invest in a project like this. Really, there are a lot of factors, but make sure it points up would be the thought, and stone settings of some kind would be cool. Or even cutouts, not even necessarily settings per se, but like negative space, like a cutout. See, like a diamond shape, like at the top here. Like, what if these little diamonds in the center, right there, just the middle part right there, what if those were cut out? That'd be cool too. Everything else could remain. You could do like a cutout at the top here, cut this little diamond square out of the top, and then set a stone in there or something like that. That'd be neat. I really love the filigree though. I just think it adds depth and it's really beautiful. Do what you will. If this is not the direction you go as far as the crown, then I'd be interested to see what you do. But babies. Anyway, made a mask. Nailed it. That's really cool. A mask, that's cool too. A collar? A collar for what? A metal collar? Like a dog collar? What do you mean? Careful, babies. A band collar? Like around your neck? I don't know. When you say metal collar, my brain goes to, for some reason, like kinky sex BDSM collar. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I would do a crown over the two. But context is important. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask about that. Because the ex who's been stalking me and sending people to help used to like to strangle me when he was angry. So I get a little claustrophobic sometimes about things being around my neck. Notice I took my necklace off. $7 super band. Yeah, if you could turn, I mean, I don't know, if you've got a market for that, do whatever, dude. But I think I personally find more beauty and artistic opportunity in the crown. Maybe I don't think you want that. I know, it's protein. And I know it has an ingredient you like in it, but also some you don't. I just gave you some Lucy. But really, it's whatever you want to do. Yeah, it just has to, you have to have the market for it. Just let me put it this way. I've bought crowns before. I don't have any BDSM collars. So I'm not the person to ask. But I was thinking that too when you said 7-inch armband. Did you see me look down at my arm? I'm like, oh, you know what, 7 inches? I think that would be enough to, like, maybe not for everybody, but for me, 7 inches would definitely be enough to do an armband. Or not me in particular, but somebody smaller. Kind of just gauging my own arm. Hold on, let me tell you. Nana Rose to the rescue with her handy-dandy measuring tape. I'm curious. You got me curious. Cosplay, I just wear them for fun, really, but if you were looking for ideas on how to repurpose it, hold on. I am wearing something under this. It's just skin colored. Hey now. Where's the 7? I think it might be a little bit, and I've got pretty small arms. I think it might be a little bit small, but I have an idea for that too. Yeah, these are all just for fun ideas. If you took, I don't know if they would be like more spherical or just like round, or these like little end pieces that you could weld onto the ends. Like if you've got a 7-inch strip like this, right? And then you took a little piece on the end, like maybe an inch, and like a decorative cap almost. But like maybe when it's like an inch long and then an inch long on the other side, like a decorative cap, it would close any like sharp pieces in it, anything like that. Just kind of rounded out and protected. You would roll round wire, something like that. Yeah. It would give you a little bit more length. Like you could do like an inch or so ish on either side. Let me do that again, actually. And it would finish the end pieces really lovely. But it would also give you that little bit of extra room to make it, I think, fit. Let me measure one more time. I'm doing it kind of on the higher part of my arm. It's usually a little bigger. Yeah. Flex a little bit. 10 inches. So that's there comfortably. Where would that be? Maybe like there. Oh yeah. Okay. So I did 7 inches. You said it's a 7-inch band, right? And then when I wrapped it around my arm and kind of gave it a rough amount of where it would be comfortable on me from start to finish, it only goes to 8 inches. So that means if you were to do like, you could do 9 inches and it would be really nice and secure. Meaning like at minimum, I would say maybe 8 inches. So that would be like half an inch on either end cap. But you've got room if you wanted to, which would give you more room. It would be like a safer bet to do 9 inches. So like an inch-ish end cap on either side, or like, I don't know, like 3/4, somewhere in between there. But for somebody whose arm is similar to my size, that would be more than enough to do an armband. That was a good idea. Who said that? Oh, because I was thinking that too. That's why I went down. David. Great idea. Armor for people who do cosplay and make... Yeah, I bet. Yeah, eventually I'll have some stuff commissioned. Ow! I want to have a little corset piece built. That's my leg. Thank you. Ow. It's not for play. He thinks it is. You want to play? You're so funny. You're such a silly goose. Either way, that would be super cool. Whatever you end up doing. I keep thinking of he was my old business partner, and one of my best friends. His name was Tony. He owned the crystal shops around here. Really nice guy. He was a historian and an entomologist and a geologist. Brilliant. He was a teacher. Professionally. Like, he taught middle school kids, but he also taught college students. He was very smart, funny, and he liked art and good food, and he was just great. But he always wanted me to take like a metalworking class. And so I always found stuff like this interesting. But I keep thinking of him. You have some spirits that love what you do. It's very cool, he says. It's a gift. Yeah, see, he thought that when he was alive too, though. He passed a couple years ago. He had a heart attack while he was traveling. Actually in Arizona. He was going to a crystal shop. To buy them for the shop many years ago. Now it feels like great guy though. He's a good storyteller too.
Let's say you're a
This one keeps grabbing my attention. I don't know why, but I'm very curious. I grew up in a restaurant. So I guess that makes sense. Oh, that's interesting too. I'm such a nerd. It's fine though. I love this.
by their junk food cravings with some interesting cuisine. Stocking up on chips and Twinkies and hitting the drive-thru for a greasy cheeseburger seem like modern institutions. But the world's love affair with junk food is a tale as old as time. A lot of what would become the fast food industry began in medieval
sweet
Europe,
dreams,
where
Liam.
people satisfied their junk food cravings with some interesting cuisine. But knights weren't exactly galloping their horses through the drive-thru or grabbing candy bars on their way to the castle. Instead, medieval fast food catered to travelers and the poor.
Speaking of food and fast food and what have you, it's why I don't bake and cook and stuff like that as a business. You're welcome. I used to. I don't do it anymore. Somebody says why, you get kind of burned out from it. It's like when your house, if you're a housekeeper, you spend all day at work cleaning up after other people at work, and like you don't want to get home and then have to clean your whole house too. Like you know what I mean? You don't want that to become your whole life. Cook for people all day at work and then get home and then have to do the same thing. It's just, if you cook because you love it or it's relaxing or whatever, like when you're already exhausted from it, from a long day of it, like you don't want to do that again. You just get home from doing that all day, right? And so it doesn't have to just be about restaurant work, but yeah. Except for on levels for me. The goal is to build, and that's how I built it. Build passions into career, not around them. But there's a balance. I did used to have a baking business. I was successful too. I was just tired.
Let us know what other historical food topics you would like to hear
I
about
don't-
next.
I don't want to clean all the dishes all
Time
the
to get
time.
medieval on those Cool Ranch Doritos. London is a city known for its major landmarks and for
Wait,
being a
what
hub
did I
of
just
British
say?
culture, as well as
Takeout was invented because poor Londoners weren't able to cook. Wait, what? They weren't able to cook? How? Why? What? I'm a little confused. I need more context. It says they couldn't cook. Driven by the Industrial Revolution, growing urban dead. Somebody said, you are a nerd. I am. It's fine. Growing urban density and the need for cheap, quick meals for working class people. Oh dear. With staples like eel, pie, mash houses becoming popular in the 19th century, it evolved from street food to meet the high demand for food in a crowded area where many workers lacked private kitchens, offering a convenient, affordable, rapid dining option. So Victorian origins were pie and mash. What is a mash shop? It's potatoes? What's a mash shop? Pie and what kind of pie? Meat pie? What are they talking about? Usually that's a London thing, traditionally. Now I'm curious. I have lots of questions. Okay. Became a staple of London where Victorian era invention through food stalls. Though food stalls existed earlier, these served working class families who often lacked proper cooking facilities. So what, they didn't have like cooking, they didn't have kitchens, or maybe they didn't have like proper housing or something, I don't know. I see like big, what is that, like boarding houses or something, like work houses, but they don't have kitchens, or it's just like so they can sleep basically. Fish and chips became, so by the 20th century, fish and chips became an established, nutritious, quick staple for industrial population. Hold on, I had a question. What was it? It was a mash shop. In London. Yeah, see, meat pies. I told you. In London. It's an England thing. London. Pie and mash shop. Traditional, often historic London eatery specializing in working class staple dish, minced beef pies, mashed potatoes, so both right on both accords, and green parsley sauce known as liqueur. Jellied eels. I don't know about that, man. The heck is a jellied? Ugh. Ew. I don't know if I want to look this one up. Oh, it's making me gag. Ugh. Yep, there it is. I should have trusted that. I don't want to look at it again. That's gross. Somebody's like, I want to see. I'm not going to submit my viewers to that. You can look it up. Jellied eels. It looks as nasty as it sounds. The gag was warranted. Thrice. And I don't tend to have a gag reflex, really, but that one was gross. Ugh. Ugh, it's making my stomach turn. Oh God, I gotta stop. It's like a mental image. Get out of there. I might actually puke. Ugh. Bangers. What's a banger? Banger and mash. I think they're sausages. Maybe pork sausages. Why do I feel like they may be pork? Bangers and mash. It's a very British thing. Mashed potatoes and sausages, I think. what was it? Squeaks and bubbles and hold on. It's just called Bubble and Squeak, I guess. It's a really silly name. Why Squeak? Why is it called Squeak? What is it? Why is it squeaky? Oh. It's literal. Apparently those are the sounds it makes when it's cooking in the pan. Wow. Oh. Anticlimactic. Why is that so funny? Are you talking about Bubble and Squeak, not high cuisine? No, typically Bubble and Squeak, do you know what it is? You know what the dish was originally, like why it exists, why it's such a thing? It's the leftovers from, is it Sunday dinner or brunch or like boil or something? They have a dinner or a day, and like they just take all the leftover stuff and vegetables and like throw it in a pan so that it doesn't go to waste. So, but I heard it's good, and I've heard like every family pretty much has their own recipe, and it's just to waste not want, not basically. It's clever. Works. Why throw it out? Why throw a good bunch of vegetables out when you could put them in a pan and make them delicious? Who cares? So, anyway,
Hey, that's not for kitties.
probably should eat more. It's been many hours. Go to bed in a minute. All right. Now that those questions have been answered.
London is a city known for its major landmarks and for being a hub of British culture, as well as being the place where Harry Potter was hatched in Big Ben by owls. During the Middle Ages, London was a center of trade and commerce, but poverty throughout Europe was high. So for many Londoners, it wasn't easy, convenient, or even possible to cook at home. Cooking equipment and fuel weren't exactly cheap. On top of that, the poor were packed into tenement housing that often didn't have any furnishings.
See, I told you I was seeing like a workhouse or something, that, and they had rooms to sleep in, but there was no kitchen. No.
Hey, Maine in New Hampshire.
Also, if I had just listened, he would have answered my question, or not really. There was a lot more to it than that. I would have had questions still, but I did simplify.
Hearth. Without a hearth, cooking was essentially an unscalable mountain, unless you wanted to fill your home with smoke and risk burning your already meager dwellings to the ground. So people visited cook shops instead, the old-timey equivalent of picking up some takeout. Cook shops sprouted up around the Thames to serve the community's fast food needs. These 24-hour cook shops supplied hot food to tourists and residents alike. They were open every day. with menus that changed depending on the season. But instead of driving through on a chariot or horse, the cook shops offered more of a
Shelling
stroll
eels. My
experience.
God,
Customers would
that's
walk
a
up to the
crime
shop,
against
purchase
humanity.
their favorite hot meal. Others would buy what they wanted, then take it home to eat later, because scarfing down a plate of takeout is not always what you want to do in public. Cook shops weren't limited to London. One city street in Bristol became known as Cook's Row. Bristol's cook shops offered more variety, including poultry and fish, and may have been among the first to subscribe to the adage, "It's the smell that sells." They'd have their hearths outside the shop and would strategically throw food onto cooks so that the smell would entice customers over to grab a quick bite. Some shops served meats, others were known for their pancakes and bread. But the most popular might have been the shops that sold meat pies. Those delicious meat-based treats were a popular seller, kind of like a medieval hamburger, but without the fries and Coke. Speaking of burgers,
Oh, that's a good, clever way to put it, actually.
everyone loves a Big Mac. There's just something about clenching most of the basic food groups in your fist and then working them down like a snake smuggling dinner through airport security. So it makes sense that meat pies, the dark age version of a drive-in hamburger, were so popular. These savory little hot pockets were filling and portable, the mark of a blockbuster fast food item. But Mrs. Lovett's signature dish had a dark side: spoiled meat. As it turns out, rancid ingredients could be a real problem in medieval cuisine. According to a 13th century Norwich report, cooks would use diseased pork in their pies and serve them to customers without batting an eye. It wasn't uncommon for shop owners to warm up days-old spoiled pies instead of wasting them. Poverty was extremely desperate, and food safety wasn't exactly on the cooks' minds. So the decision whether to heap expired food onto the garbage cart or reheat it and sell it to customers was often disturbingly easy. Probably like it is today, for being totally honest. When they weren't recycling bad food, shops often undercooked the meat, which earned some cooks a bad reputation. A saying from the time claimed, "God sends the meat, but the devil sends the cooks." The shift manager at Waffle House used to say the same thing. Bread was one of the most common foods during Europe's castle period, but most households didn't have their own grain, so they had to buy it from bakers. And while selling ready-made bread was great, bakers could do much more than that for their customers. For example, if someone brought their own meat to the bakery, they could have the baker wrap it in bread and bake it. The idea caught on, maybe a little.
Also, you asked what a banger was. I forgot to look that up to double check, but just remembered. Bangers and mash is a classic British and Irish comfort food dish consisting, is pork, sausages, served with mashed potatoes, usually covered in, it says onion gravy in particular. The term, are you ready for bed? The term bangers originated during World War I when sausages were filled with high water content. Why? Why were they? Causing them to explode when cooked. Why were they? It's because of the fillers. You know how some people will add, like, if they're making meatloaf, ugh. No. If they're making meatloaf, they'll add breadcrumbs to stretch it. I mean, like, no. A lot of people add a bit of breadcrumbs as a binder. Egg, breadcrumbs as a binder. But people will also add more of them to stretch the dish a little bit more. In some cases, they'll add, in some cases, it's like lentils or other things to it to make a little bit of meat go a little bit more, a little bit longer. But when you do that, you're hydrating, or you have to hydrate whatever it is that you're using. So it said that because of the limited meat supply during World War I, when there were rations and food shortages going on, to make the meat supply last longer, sausages were packed in a high percentage of fillers such as rusk, bread crumbs, or potato flour, and a significant amount of water. Water would make those, like the bread or whatever was in it, expand But when it expands, especially if it's in a casing, that heat hitting the water content that's inside it, evaporating, would make the casing explode and go pop, bang in the pan. So that's why they're called bangers. Meat content was dropped, usually 25% at least, or less. And then they do mash on the side. Quite interesting.
Named after too well, London passed a law in 1350 preventing bakers from charging more than a penny if customers brought their own meat from home.
I'll never not be able to think about medieval cheeseburgers anytime a topic of a meat pie comes up again, though. That was clever and funny.
Meanwhile, you bring your own meat to Burger King one time, and they ban you for life. It wasn't like it was a cow. Not sure what the big deal was. Another modern-day fast food item came about around this time, too. The bread bowl. Modern Europeans pioneered the concept by serving soup and stews.
No, it's not weird that they would pop, because there's more water in it when you put the sausage in the pan, the hot pan, the water starts to evaporate and there's nowhere for it to go. You know how you when you cook or bake potatoes, you're supposed to stab them usually with a fork or make a slit in them, because if not, they'll start to steam from the inside when they get hot, and the steam will make them explode in the microwave, or the skin will pop open and you get potato mess everywhere. It's kind of the same thing with the sausage. There's just, when the water inside it, when the when the hi baby breadcrumbs that are like soaked in whatever it was, water or the juices from cooking, when they're inside that casing and then they get hot, they start to steam like the potato, but there's nowhere for it to go, so then the outside of it bursts open. What is that like? Somebody's cooked, like, what is that? Oscar Mayer in the microwave, and they pop open, they burst or something. I saw that.
Bread, which they called trenchers. The practice helped bulk up a meal, and was probably cheaper as it cut down on the need for dishes. But bread bowls weren't the only carb-loading option of the Middle Ages. In addition to being a staple of state fairs and aimless mall wandering, soft pretzels were also incredibly popular in medieval Europe. 3 simple ingredients combined to create the twisted treat. Just mix a little bit of water, some flour, and some salt, and you've got yourself a filling snack officially approved by the Catholic Church. That's right. During fasting periods like Lent, when Catholics avoided eating certain animal products, pretzels often took their place as a substitute. Monks would hand them out to kids reciting their prayers, while others would distribute them to the poor. Outside of the church, pretzels became a symbol of luck and prosperity. And what's not to feel lucky about when you're chowing down on a handmade pretzel? Nothing completes a fast food run like a 6-pack of booze, because if you're treating yourself, you might as well go all the way. And while drinking alcohol has been a popular activity, medieval Europeans really liked to drink, possibly because they were living in medieval Europe. Not even Lent had any effect on the common folks' thirst for memory-erasing refreshment. Part of observing Lent meant not eating meat, so folks would fill that gap in their regular diets with other things. Fish became the alternative choice for some, others turned to booze. While it provided temporary solace from abstaining, the practice of staying thoroughly soaked through Lent didn't sit well with some prominent religious figures. In 1400, the Benedictine monk Robert Ripon had strong words for anyone drowning their sorrows. He scolded excessive drinking as flying in the face of the abstinence that Lent was meant to symbolize, and opined that people got more drunk during Lent than they did during the entire rest of the year. Of course, he probably didn't have to eat some of the meat substitutes that commoners were forced to turn to, like the mock egg, a dish that was invented as a meat replacement during Lent. If he had, he might have been pounding brews in the tavern right beside them. Making a mock egg is easy even today. Just take a few empty eggshells, fill them with a mixture of almond milk jelly and crunchy almonds. Then dye it yellow and choke it down with a mug of ale. Mmm, tasty? Now pass the beer, please.
Japan the way you've always.
Sugar is one of those things we take for granted today, but during the medieval period, sugar was pretty hard to come by and was usually out of reach of the masses. Only those who could afford the expensive sweet stuff regularly consumed it. So rather than sugar-filled candy bars, people would flock to the cook shops for treats sweetened with honey. A fritter recipe from the 14th century cookbook Anonimo Veneziano calls for apples, saffron, flour, and honey. An earlier, more frugal fritter recipe was just fried dough, stuffed with gingered almonds and topped with a delicious bee juice. Gingerbread, another popular item for satisfying the peasantry's sweet tooth, also used honey, incorporating ginger, cloves, and pepper, giving it an inimitable sweet and spicy flavor. But when you're in the mood to throw money at a cholesterol spike, there's nothing quite like the funnel cake, a delicious combo of fried dough and powdered sugar. The mother of all carnival foods got its start in medieval times. Funnel cakes began as fried cakes called crisps. Because of their sugary topping, the cakes were a rare treat. Since ingredients like sugar was so limited, people would often improvise their own recipes, which is how we got dishes like fritter of milk, which is just fried, sweetened cottage cheese, otherwise known as a dessert you give your kids when you want to punish them. Waffles, as we know them, also came about during this time. The original waffles date back to ancient Greece. Known as ovalios, they were flat cakes cooked between two plates, and they weren't sweet, which is a huge oversight that arguably contributed to Greece's downfall. Later, the Catholic...
That's how beer saved the world. Is that the... Is that a documentary? Is that the title of a documentary? I remember seeing or hearing that a long time ago. Fun fact. Beer is the reason that we have math. I believe it was Egypt. When there were slaves building the pyramids, they were being paid in beer. And so they needed to be able to keep track of like how many slaves there were, how much beer they had, how much was going out, how much was left. So they started documenting their supplies with hieroglyphs and like counting them to try to keep track of, again, all of those things. But as a result, they inadvertently created a math system, a mathematical system, in order to keep track of the exchanges. And that is where math first, according to this documentary, got its origin, was kind of accidentally with beer. And you know what? Beer was also an accident itself. They were harvesting, I think, barley. It was a hop, whatever the hops were. I think it was barley or something. But they would go out in the fields and they had these like vats, these vases that they strapped up with rope like backpacks on their backs, and they would harvest the grain in them, toss the grain in their backpacks. But they were just like jars they strapped to their backs. And one of them got left out in the field overnight. Like somebody forgot their jar or left an extra one out there, and it had grains in it. And then it rained and then it was sunny the next day, and then it rained, and then it was sunny, and a couple days later they came out and they found this vat that had started to fill with water and then sat in the sun, and filled with water and then sat in the sun. And they realized it was kind of bubbly, and it kind of had a smell to it. And instead of throwing it out, they tried it and liked the feeling it gave them. Just happened to be that the conditions were right for it to ferment like that, and then to be found just when it was. But that's how, it was an accident. It was accidentally discovered, and then they started doing it on purpose. Oops.
The church began making flour waffle wafers, which typically depicted biblical scenes. But it wasn't until the Crusades when a more recognizable version of waffle batter, combining cinnamon, honey, and cream, really took off in Europe. And
I'm not saying that it was, that's why I said according to that documentary, it was where it got its origins. Now, it may have been where Egypt got its mathematical origins, like, who knows, before the countries were established to a point where they were globally traveling and crossing over. And very interesting. Persians. Oh, I've been thinking about that particular life. Lots of past life stuff coming up lately. I love you guys. We're so interesting. Some days I wish we could just sit in a little happy TP circle. Smoke bowls around a fire and nerd out together. I was getting a vision earlier of like a campfire, summer campfire. That sounds so nice. Persian. Rough.
In the 15th century, the Dutch invented the famous grid patterns that transformed waffles into the optimal syrup and whipped cream delivery systems celebrated by junk food connoisseurs centuries later. Initially, waffles were a common street food, but would eventually become the breakfast and dessert staple we fling into toasters to this day. Thanks to the discovery of the New World, sugar became affordable and accessible to everyone by the 16th century. London even opened a sugar refinery, prompting a trend that continues in modern food processing today, adding sugar to almost everything. Sugar quickly replaced honey in most desserts. People began crystallizing their fruit in syrups, and even started using sugar to season their meats. If you cover a plate of fish and vegetables with enough sugar, eventually it tastes just like sugar, which was a welcome respite for poverty-stricken families accustomed to eating rotten meat pies. Sugary concoctions became popular junk foods during the period, including crispy crusts topped with berries, fruit, or ginger, and a sweet fruit-filled ravioli called Cuscanoles. Cuscanoles is just a good name. You can picture that on a Hostess wrapper next to a mascot, like the Cuscanoles kid. This love of sweetness transformed the European diet to such a degree that the word dessert can even be traced back to this time. Derived from the French word desservir, meaning to clear the table, the French were using it to mean last course by the mid-16th century. The English later adapted dessert to refer to the final course of fruits and sweets that people ate after the meal. The Cuscanoles kid would be proud.
Really?
So what do you think? Would you be willing to try some junk food from the Dark Ages? Let us know in the...
That's interesting. And then when this one came up, the first thing that pops up is, it says what people ate to survive in the Victorian era. Well, Queen Victoria is a royal relative of mine. And there's something I know about her, if I recall, which is that it was said that she ate to live, she didn't live to eat. Like, she was, I don't remember exactly the details, but she was finicky about her food, or specific, or like not really. I think also I heard that about, was it the last queen?
Might run the family. I forget. Let's listen.
Reigned in the United Kingdom from 1837 until she passed in 1901, the Victorian era was a period filled with shifting trends, attitudes, and innovations. Food itself was part of these changes, and the Victorians displayed resourcefulness and creativity in the dishes they prepared. Victorian Britons were a diverse bunch, with eclectic tastes and habits, and the food they consumed often reflected their disparate sensibilities. Today, we're going to take a look at what people ate to survive in Victorian England. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel, and let us know in the comments below what other culinary history you would like to hear about. Okay, for our entree today, we recommend this Victorian-styled video. I think it's just delicious. Among other things, Victorians were enthusiastic horticulturalists, and they loved to tinker with and create their own varieties of fruits and vegetables. One of the most successful fruits to emerge in the late Victorian period was the Royal Sovereign strawberry. Developed by Thomas Laxton in 1892, it was luscious and tasty. Botanists of the 19th century were on something of a quest to develop a strawberry that was as large as the American variety, but as sweet as the European variety. And Laxton's creation scored on both counts. His Royal Sovereign strawberry was such a hit that Country Life Illustrated declared in 1899 that it was one of the finest strawberries ever raised.
I haven't been to the grocery store in over a year, but I'm eating healthier than ever. Here's how I did it. Meal planning used to be...
Baby girl.
McDonald's gave us the Egg McMuffin breakfast combo, IHOP gave us the Rooty Tooty Fresh and Fruity breakfast plate, and Victorian England gave us the full English breakfast, typically encompassing a spread of fried eggs, bacon, baked beans, grilled tomatoes, and mushrooms. The full English breakfast remains, to this day, a popular meal. However, prior to the Victorian era, only the wealthy could afford to eat eggs and meat for breakfast. That slowly changed throughout the 19th century as the standard of living increased for the vast majority of the population. By the end of the era, even working-class Victorians had the time and money to enjoy a more elaborate breakfast. It may be hard to believe now, but one of the most popular beverages of the Victorian era was beer. Okay, it's actually not that hard to believe. In fact, by 1865, British brewers made 25 million barrels of beer annually. Though it was widely consumed, Victorian beer had a relatively low alcohol content, usually less than 3%. You might be wondering why beer was so popular if it did not get you drunk. Well, the truth is that the drinking water of the era, especially in crowded cities like London, could easily become contaminated with sewage.
Ew.
Consuming beer was therefore a safer and significantly less disgusting option for Victorians looking to quench their thirst. Since the climate in the UK made growing sugar pretty much impossible, it had to be imported. No one knows exactly when the importation of sugar began, but some believe it might have been as early as 1264 in the court of Henry III. It wouldn't be until the 14th century that sugar came into general use. But even then, it was incredibly expensive, commanding prices that in today's money would be about 50 English pounds or 70 American dollars per pound. As you might expect, it remained a luxury for the ultra-rich. However, thanks in part to the end of taxes on imported sugar in 1874, candy quickly became popular and could be found virtually everywhere in the Victorian world. One of the most popular candies was the bullseye. Named after the eyes of a bull, the sweet treat wasn't as unappetizing as its namesake. The red and white striped, sugary candies were actually mint-flavored. The 19th century saw the birth of what is arguably the most popular breakfast item of all time, cereal. American entrepreneurs like Sylvester Graham developed breakfast cereals to provide healthy food to the masses. Some took it even further. John Kellogg, for example, developed cornflakes as a bland food to curb people's sexual impulses, because, apparently, he thought that was something people wanted. Processed breakfast cereal gained traction in mid-century America and continued to gain popularity over time.
Anyone who's been to a grocery store recently could testify to that, as virtually every supermarket in existence today has an entire aisle devoted to products like Frosted Flakes, Cheerios, honeycombs, and dozens of others. Britons, on the other hand, didn't really take to the stuff the way Americans did. Instead, British Victorians generally preferred to eat gruel, oats, and porridge. Once you've had Cap'n Crunch, you'll never go back. They wouldn't really start to enjoy prepared cereal until the beginning of the 20th century. Working and middle-class Victorians.
I'm very curious.
She ruled over an empire that covered a quarter of the world. But her dinner table might be the biggest surprise of all. Queen Victoria's diet was a fascinating mix of discipline, indulgence, and downright strange habits that tell us more about her than any royal biography ever could. Today we're uncovering the hidden world of royal meals, the breakfast routines, the midnight snacks, and the dining rules that shocked even her guests. Ready to find out what Britain's most famous monarch really ate? Breakfast. The scrambled egg obsession. Queen Victoria's breakfast table would have impressed any modern
Can I tell you, Persian men are a little weak. Women are strong as fuck. Can I tell you? So there's a past life that my daughter and I shared in Persia. We've been together in many lives, usually as mother and daughter, but in this life we were twin sisters. There's a freaking... Hold on. So she and I were twin sisters in this life, and we had like shitty parents, and they sold us to these terrible, broke ass dudes as like for the price of one. So when a man and a woman in those areas, arranged marriage, when they get married, there is a dowry and then a bride price. So the bride price is paid by the groom's family to the bride's family. Okay, and so like the groom's family will pay the family of like the parents. They'll pay the parents of the bride to take the daughters. Like, we're taking your daughters away from you, here's some money. And then on the flip side, the bride's family will give gifts of some kind, money or material items, a dowry to the groom's family. Like, you're taking our daughter from us and, you know, she's your expense now, so here's some stuff or here's some money. That's a dowry versus a bride price. Hey, we're taking your daughter, here's some money, versus, hey, you're taking your daughter, here's some stuff or money, whatever. And so really they're both supposed to get something out of it according to that. But either way, the parents in this life said, hey, we'll give you 2 beautiful twin daughters for 1 bride price. And they sold us off. And it was this like rickety ass building. We were on the 2nd or 3rd story.
there were no proper doors. There were like openings for doors, but even like holes in the rickety wood of the building, right? Because it was a building, but it was very rickety. Like the rafters and the ceilings were like there are holes, gaps in the boards, and same thing with the floor. You had to be careful where you stepped, and it was just very sketchy. Almost like, you know how things are, you have to be kind of careful when in a place is being built, because not all the walls and the support beams and everything is up. Well, it was like this, except for it wasn't being built. It was just like, that's how it was. It was rickety and then also falling apart. There were no doors. There were these like sheets, these pieces of fabric that were tattered and kind of torn, had bits of holes in them and were frayed, very thin, kind of just like blowing in the wind. Those were the doors, like even on the outside. And so on the inside, everything was blowing, although it was Persia in the desert, so it was hot anyway, but nonetheless. Terrible place. She was scared. I had to kind of be the brave one, and I wasn't leaving her behind, but yeah. I had a plan to get us out of there. Escape. It was terrible.
Thanks to fiction. Lunch enthusiast. Kitchen records from the 1870s show that breakfast and egg obsession. Breakfast. The scrambled egg obsession.
I just made a bunch of deviled eggs earlier.
Queen Victoria's breakfast table would have impressed any modern brunch enthusiast. Kitchen records from the 1870s show that breakfast typically included at least 8 different hot dishes laid out on silver warmers. Victoria had a particular fondness for scrambled eggs, but these were no ordinary scrambled eggs. Royal chefs prepared them with cream and butter until they reached a consistency described in records as cloud-like. The Queen insisted they be served immediately after cooking, which meant kitchen staff had to time everything precisely to avoid her displeasure. Beyond the eggs, breakfast offerings included kidneys, bacon, sausages, kedgeree, a Victorian rice and...
Wait, what was that? Kedgeree? It kind of looked like the bubble and
kidneys,
squeak.
bacon, sausages, kedgeree...
What the heck is that? Rice, parsley, it looks like maybe. Eggs. Was it chicken? What is that? That's a new one. I've never seen that before.
A Victorian rice and fish dish with Indian origins.
Yeah, there it is.
Cold meats, and various breads. Kitchen accounts from 18...
He answers my question. Right after, though I posed the question first.
1887, note that breakfast preparations began at 5 a.m. to ensure everything was ready when Victoria descended at 9 a.m. sharp. The interesting part is the speed at which she ate. Court memoirs from her ladies-in-waiting describe breakfast as a rushed affair. But we'll come back to this later. Luncheon. Light but lavish.
Oh, that must be been
Luncheon at
rough.
Victoria's court.
Because when you're dealing with a queen like that, the course is over. As far as I recall, when the queen is done eating, the course is over. So, like, if everybody was eating a meal together at the dinner table and she decided she was done, she's taken her last bite, she's full, even if other people are still eating, that's it. Course is over. If the queen is done, the meal's over.
Court occupied a curious middle ground between informal and elaborate. Meals were typically served at 2 p.m. and consisted of around 6 courses, though they were smaller portions than dinner.
Somebody says, so if she was eating really quickly, they'd have to try to eat really quickly to keep up with her, to try to make sure they could get a meal in before she was done.
The Queen preferred cold meats, game pies, and salads for luncheon. Kitchen
Medieval
inventories from
burgers.
Windsor Castle show regular orders for cooked chickens, tongue, and various terrines. These were arranged on sideboards, and guests could serve themselves, one of the few informal aspects of royal dining. Victoria particularly enjoyed potted meats, which were essentially Victorian pâtés sealed with butter. Recipe books preserved at the Royal Archives include detailed instructions for potted tongue, potted shrimp, and potted game, each with specific spice combinations the Queen favoured. Fresh fruit appeared at every luncheon, regardless of season. This required considerable expense and effort in Victorian times. Royal accounts show regular payments to specialty greengrocers who supplied grapes, peaches, and melons year-round, often grown in heated glass houses. A single out-of-season pineapple could cost the equivalent of several weeks' wages for a servant, but Victoria expected exotic fruits to be available daily. One peculiar luncheon habit involved timing again. Like breakfast, luncheon moved at Victoria's pace. Court diaries mention that she would often eat while standing or walking through rooms, making luncheon an even faster affair than breakfast. This left visiting dignitaries scrambling to eat while maintaining royal protocol. Afternoon tea, a sacred ritual. Afternoon tea was perhaps the most predictable meal in Victoria's day. Served precisely at 5 p.m., it followed a rigid format that staff could execute with their eyes closed. The Queen took her tea with milk and a small amount of sugar. Her tea was Earl Grey, served at a precise
I like
temperature.
that. That's one of my favorites.
Kitchen staff
actually.
used a thermometer to ensure it was exactly right. Too hot, and she would wait. Too cold, and it would be sent back. The food accompanying tea was surprisingly restrained compared to other meals. Thin sandwiches, cucumber was a favorite, along with scones, small cakes, and occasionally muffins. Kitchen accounts show weekly orders for specific teas and consistent quantities of flour, butter, and preserves for baking. What made afternoon tea significant was its social function. This was when Victoria conducted informal audiences, received family, and discussed palace business. Court correspondence shows that being invited to afternoon tea indicated favour, while being excluded suggested displeasure. Victoria had strong opinions about tea etiquette. She insisted on proper pouring technique. Tea first, then milk. Multiple accounts from court observers note that she would visibly react if someone poured milk first, considering it improper. One German princess visiting the court wrote home describing how terrified she was of making a mistake during tea service. Dinner, the main event. Dinner at Victoria's court was an orchestrated production that could last several hours. Served at 8:30 p.m.,
Imagine
it
someone
consisted of
judging you based
anywhere
on the
from
way you
8
pour
to
tea.
12 courses, depending on whether there were guests. The sheer scale of food preparation was remarkable. Kitchen records from a typical dinner in 1895 show that chefs prepared multiple options for each course, ensuring variety, even though only a fraction would be eaten. A single dinner might include 3 soup choices, 4 fish preparations, 6 meat dishes, and multiple desserts. Victoria's personal preferences shaped these menus considerably. She loved roast beef and insisted it appear regularly, prepared precisely to her liking. Well done, contrary to the rare beef preferred by many at court. Kitchen staff maintained detailed notes about her preferences, recording that she favoured brown gravy over wine-based sauces and preferred vegetables cooked until very soft. Game featured heavily when in season. Pheasant, partridge, venison, and grouse all appeared on royal menus. Kitchen accounts show the royal estate at Balmoral supplied hundreds of birds annually. These were often prepared simply, roasted with basic seasonings, reflecting Victoria's preference for straightforward cooking rather than elaborate French preparations. One surprising element was the presence of Indian-influenced dishes. After Victoria became Empress of India in 1876, curries and other Indian preparations appeared regularly at dinner. Menus from the 1880s list: mulligatawny soup, various curries, and dale as standard offerings. The Queen employed Indian servants who advised the kitchen on authentic preparations. The dining room itself operated under strict rules. Conversations were directed by Victoria. You spoke when she addressed you, and about topics she chose. Multiple courtiers' diaries described the anxiety of royal dinners, where making interesting conversation on demand was required while eating complex foods with perfect etiquette. The speed problem. Here's where royal dining became genuinely difficult for guests. Victoria ate quickly, and when she finished a course, that course was over for everyone. Court memoirs are filled with complaints about leaving dinner hungry. The Queen would typically finish each course in just a few minutes, and footmen immediately removed all plates, whether guests had finished or not. One visiting ambassador's diary entry describes watching his untouched fish course disappear while he was mid-conversation with his neighbor. This created a strategic challenge. Experienced courtiers learned to eat quickly without appearing to rush, taking bites whenever the Queen did. New visitors often left their first royal dinner having barely eaten anything. Princess Marie Louise wrote in her memoirs about leaving her first dinner at Windsor Castle, absolutely starving, after managing only a few bites across 12 courses. The problem intensified as Victoria aged. In her later years, she ate even faster than in her youth. Kitchen records indicate that entire 12-course dinners sometimes concluded in under 40 minutes. For comparison, formal dinners at other European courts typically lasted 2 to 3 hours. Palace staff dealt with this by preparing food in easily consumed portions and ensuring that everything could be eaten quickly if necessary. Tough meats were avoided, vegetables were cut small, and soups were served at temperatures that allowed immediate consumption. The kitchen essentially designed menus around the Queen's eating speed. Desserts and sweets, the Queen's weakness. If Victoria had a culinary weakness, it was sweets. Kitchen accounts show remarkable quantities of sugar, chocolate, and candied fruits ordered weekly. Her favorite dessert was chocolate sponge cake, which she requested so frequently that chefs developed a standardized recipe. The Royal Archives preserve this recipe, noting that it should be moist, dark, and rich with chocolate. Kitchen accounts show regular orders for the finest chocolate available, imported from specific suppliers in London. Ice cream appeared at nearly every dinner, regardless of season. Victorian ice cream required considerable labor to produce, involving ice harvested in winter and stored in ice houses, then used with salt to create the freezing temperatures needed. Windsor's ice houses could store up to 40 tons of ice, dedicated largely to ice cream production. Victoria particularly enjoyed fruit-based desserts. Strawberries, raspberries, and peaches appeared fresh in season and preserved the rest of the year. Kitchen inventories list dozens of jars of preserved fruits, stored in dedicated pantries. One steward's account book from 1883 records purchasing over 200 pounds of strawberries in a single week during June. Perhaps most surprising was her love of something quite simple: plain sponge cake with jam. Despite access to the most elaborate desserts Victorian pastry chefs could create, she regularly requested this childhood favorite. Kitchen accounts show that raspberry jam was purchased in large quantities, specifically for this purpose. Drinks, wine, whiskey, and water. Victoria's drinking habits were more moderate than many assume. Wine consumption records show relatively modest quantities compared to other royal households of the era. She preferred wine diluted with water, typically mixing claret with water at a ratio of about half and half. This was common practice in Victorian times, though Victoria maintained the habit more strictly than most. Royal cellars contained extensive wine collections, but consumption records show she personally drank sparingly. Whiskey appeared later in her life, particularly at Balmoral. She developed a fondness for Scotch whiskey mixed with water, considering it medicinal. Correspondence with her doctor includes letters discussing whether whiskey was beneficial for her health. He apparently encouraged it, and she continued the practice into old age. Champagne was reserved for special occasions. Accounts show champagne purchases increasing during celebrations, state visits, and holidays, but it appeared rarely at ordinary dinners. Victoria preferred still wines for regular consumption. Interestingly, the Queen drank relatively little tea outside of afternoon tea, despite tea being ubiquitous in
Yeah, it's almost
Victorian
bedtime. I
Britain.
just took a sleep gummy.
Breakfast usually included coffee, prepared strong and served hot. Kitchen records note specific coffee suppliers in London, with beans ground fresh daily in the kitchens. The German influence. Victoria's German heritage significantly influenced her eating habits. Born to a German mother and married to German Prince Albert, she maintained German food traditions throughout her life. Sauerkraut appeared regularly on royal menus, unusual for British tables of the era.
It's hilarious.
Kitchen records list regular orders
Just had some of that earlier.
for barrels of prepared sauerkraut from specific German suppliers. Court observers
I like this one particular brand because it's not super salty. It's delicious.
noted that this remained a fixture even after Albert's death in autumn 1861, when Victoria abandoned many other practices. German sausages and cured meats were breakfast staples. Kitchen accounts show orders for specific German varieties that were either imported or made by staff, following German recipes. Victoria's breakfast table included Leberwurst, Bratwurst, and other preparations that British courtiers found exotic. Christmas traditions at court were heavily German, including the foods served. Victoria popularized the Christmas tree in Britain, and German Christmas foods came along with it. Menus from Christmas week show Stollen, Lebkuchen, and marzipan treats alongside traditional British Christmas fare. The Queen's insistence on maintaining these German foods, despite considerable anti-German sentiment in Britain during various political tensions, shows how strongly she valued these connections. Even during periods when German culture was unpopular, menus continued featuring German dishes. The Scottish Retreat. Balmoral Castle in Scotland offered Victoria a different culinary experience than Windsor or Buckingham Palace. She spent several months annually at Balmoral and developed distinct Scottish food preferences. Porridge appeared at breakfast throughout her stays in Scotland. Records indicate this was prepared in the traditional Scottish manner, with water and salt, no sugar or cream. This represented a departure from the elaborate English breakfasts served at her other residences. Scottish game and fish dominated Balmoral menus. Salmon from the River Dee, grouse from the estate's moors, and venison from the forests all featured prominently. Kitchen accounts show that these were prepared more simply than similar foods at Windsor, often just roasted or grilled rather than made into complex dishes. Victoria particularly enjoyed Scottish shortbread and oatcakes. Kitchen records include recipes for both, with notes indicating the Queen's preferences for specific textures and levels of sweetness. She would send these back to England as gifts, considering them superior to English biscuits. The informality of Balmoral extended to dining arrangements. Meals were somewhat less formal than at Windsor, though still far more elaborate than typical homes. Court diaries describe outdoor lunches during fine weather, with food prepared in the castle kitchens and transported to picnic locations on the estate. State banquets. Dining as theatre. State banquets represented the pinnacle of royal dining, where meals became political theatre designed to impress foreign dignitaries and demonstrate British power. These events served vastly more food than anyone could eat. Records from an 1897 state banquet list over 400 individual dishes prepared for approximately 150 guests. This abundance was intentional, displaying wealth and capability through excess. The menu planning alone required weeks of work. Correspondence shows that menus were submitted to the Queen for approval, often revised multiple times. She paid attention to dietary restrictions of foreign guests, ensuring appropriate options were available. When hosting Russian dignitaries during Lent, additional fish courses were prepared to accommodate Orthodox fasting practices. Each course followed precise choreography. Footmen served guests simultaneously, requiring extensive rehearsal. Staff documents include detailed timing charts showing exactly when each course should be served, how long guests should have to eat, and when to clear plates. The food itself emphasized British excellence. Roast beef featured prominently, symbolizing British tradition. Game from royal estates demonstrated the bounty of the realm. Exotic fruits showed access to the empire's resources. Kitchen accounts from these events show purchases of the finest ingredients available, regardless of cost. Foreign visitors' accounts of these banquets express amazement at the scale and precision. One French diplomat's memoir describes a state banquet as a military operation executed with food instead of soldiers. The goal was clearly achieved. These meals left lasting impressions of British power and sophistication. Personal quirks and preferences. Victoria's personal eating habits included several quirks that staff learned to accommodate. She strongly disliked waste. Despite the abundance served at royal meals, leftover food was distributed systematically. Servants received leftover meats and bread, local charities received certain items, and some foods were repurposed in staff meals. One steward's diary describes the Queen inspecting kitchens and expressing displeasure at wasted food. Temperature was crucial. Foods had to arrive at precisely the right temperature. Kitchens installed specialized equipment to keep foods hot during the long journey from kitchen to dining room. Cold foods similarly required careful timing to prevent wilting or warming. She had strong opinions about presentation. Multiple chefs' memoirs mention her insistence that foods look appetizing. Garnishes should be fresh, colors should contrast pleasingly, and nothing should appear sloppy. Dishes were returned to the kitchen if presentation failed to meet standards. Repetition bothered her less than variety. Despite having access to enormous menu options, she frequently requested the same dishes. Menus from different years show remarkable consistency in core offerings. This actually simplified kitchen operations, as staff became expert at preparing her favorite dishes. One peculiar habit involved salt. Victoria preferred food well seasoned and would add extra salt at the table. This was unusual for the era, when heavily salted food was associated with lower class eating. Kitchen records include notes reminding chefs to season her portions more heavily than others. The widowhood years. After Prince Albert's death in 1861, Victoria's eating habits changed noticeably. Records show a shift towards simpler, more modest meals. Dinner courses reduced from 12 to 8 or 9. Kitchen accounts show decreased spending on exotic ingredients and imported delicacies. This reflected both her mourning and a genuine shift in preferences. Court diaries from this period describe dinner as more somber affairs, shorter in duration and less elaborate in preparation. Comfort foods appeared more frequently. The dishes she had enjoyed without
to say she might not have had the energy to put into it the same way.
Albert, German preparations, simple roasts, familiar desserts became staples. Menus show increased repetition, with the same dishes appearing weekly rather than rotating through wider variety. She ate alone more often. Rather than hosting large dinners nightly, Victoria frequently dined in her private rooms with just a lady in waiting for company. Kitchen records show separate, smaller meal preparations for these private dinners, distinct from the formal dining room meals served to courtiers. However, state obligations continued. When hosting official functions, the full elaborate meal service remained. The striking contrast between simple private dinners and lavish public banquets shows how Victoria separated personal preference from royal duty. Interestingly, her appetite remained robust. Despite the reduced formality, portion size and the speed of eating remained consistent. Staff continued dealing with her rapid eating pace, and guests still left dinners hungry if they were invited to private meals. The kitchen operation. Behind Victoria's meals was a massive kitchen operation that ran with military precision. Palace employment records show that Windsor Castle's kitchens employed over 45 people during Victoria's reign. The kitchen hierarchy was strict. The head chef, always male and often French, oversaw multiple sous chefs, each responsible for specific aspects of meal preparation. Below them were specialized cooks for roasting, sauce making, pastry, and vegetable preparation. Kitchen accounts include detailed job descriptions and wage records for each position. Food procurement required its own staff. Palace records show regular purchases from dozens of suppliers across London and beyond. Meat came from specific butchers who held royal warrants. Fish arrived daily from suppliers in coastal towns. Vegetables came from royal gardens when possible, supplemented by commercial suppliers. Storage facilities were extensive. Windsor Castle contained multiple pantries, each climate-controlled for specific foods. Ice houses stored ice for preservation and dessert making. Wine cellars held thousands of bottles. Dry goods pantries stored flour, sugar, and other staples in quantities that would supply a small village. The daily schedule began at 4 a.m. when kitchen staff started fires in the massive cooking ranges. Bread baking came first, followed by breakfast preparation. Throughout the day, different teams prepared different meals, with carefully coordinated timing to ensure everything arrived at the correct temperature. Waste management was organized systematically. Food scraps went to pig farms that supplied pork to the palace, creating a circular economy. Bones went to soup stock or were sold to glue manufacturers. Even vegetable peelings were composted for the palace gardens. Account books show that virtually nothing was simply thrown away. So what did Queen Victoria really eat? Her diet balanced luxury with surprising restraint. She had access to every delicacy the empire could offer, yet her tastes leaned toward comfort and simplicity. Good ingredients, familiar flavors, and straightforward cooking. Her famously quick meals set the pace for everyone around her, shaping how royal dining was planned and served. Even in the palace, her personal habits became protocol. German traditions, Scottish influences, and ingredients from across the empire all found their way to her table, reflecting Victorian Britain itself, diverse, ambitious, and deeply traditional at the same time. What surprised you most about her dining habits?
Interesting. Okay, my darlings, that being said, and without further ado, I'm going to bid you adieu for the night. In the meantime, please remember to pray. Do no harm, take no crown, and I will certainly see you in the next one. I love you. Blessings and namaste. Happy time shift. Happy spring. One love. Blessings.